So I asked you earlier some of the tweaks to the Browns offense that you might think happen. And I have one that I'm going to lay on you here. We're going to hear from a couple of the guys and we'll get to it. But my thought is if you play Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in the same backfield, defenses have to find a way to deal with it. You can potentially attack all 53 and a half yards of width. You create matchup problems because one of those guys, if you motion them out, is likely going to have a linebacker on him. That's a mismatch. I just think there's a lot of things that a defense has to account for if you put both of those on the field at the same time. Kevin Stefanski and Kareem Hunt talked about, Chubb and Hunt in the same backfield together today. Here they
Those are all
on
things
that
we
topic.
talk about. We want to make sure whatever we do is sound in thinking and sound in schematically, those type of things. You're right; those are two great players. So we got to make sure that they're involved so that we can be productive, like you mentioned, in the run game and in the pass game. I do think it's something you can do in this system, really any system, in terms of plugging those guys. I think we just want to be mindful and intentional about why we're doing what we're doing. If you do something like that, you want to have a good reason to do it and put those guys in position to succeed.
So Dan, what do you think? Is it a possibility?
It's something I've wanted to see, and I certainly can respect the thinking of you want to keep those guys fresh and be able to have them run the football late in a game. That was really how you were winning games in 2020. But when Kevin Stefanski says you've got to have a good reason to do something, there are plenty of good reasons to have Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb out there. One of them is just if I'm a defensive coordinator and I see both of those guys walk into the huddle, I'm nervous about who am I going to send in? How am I going to defend this? Where are these guys going to line up? Is this going to be a run or a pass? I think Nick Chubb has actually progressed as a pass catcher. He's certainly not on Kareem Hunt's level, but he is a guy that can catch the football and do something with it when it gets in his hands. So anything that kind of can keep a defensive coordinator up at night, make him nervous when he sees two guys walk on the field. And I think we just saw in Baltimore the last time, the Browns really lacked guys who could just go and win matchups. Donovan Peoples-Jones had the drop early. David Njoku, he did end up scoring a touchdown, but he had a series of plays where it was like, you just got to go win that matchup and get the football. And Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb have that ability. Both of them do. And so I think when you're kind of in a desperate time here where you've got to just go win football games, that's really kind of that's your checkmate, I guess. That's the way that you can go out there and put the defense in a nearly impossible position to be able to stop both of them.
And I think the timing of it with one of your tight ends potentially being banged up so you can't play the 13, it just makes sense. So, all right, Harrison Bryant, we'll go two backs, you go two wide receivers and a tight end. So it's different. People haven't seen it, so it's not able to be game planned for. The other thing is Kareem Hunt was asked about it. Here's his response to playing in the same backfield with Nick Chubb.
I mean, I would love it, but that's up to them. Whatever the coaches, decide. If they decide to put us both out there, I'm ready for that. And if not, then that's fine. I feel like we'll still be fine. So, I mean, the cons is the pros and cons. There's really none. It's only pros. I think it'll be a good thing.
Well, wouldn't the con could possibly be that you're able to help Nick stay super fresh for the fourth quarter if you guys kind of alternate, but you guys, right? And but you probably feel you can overcome that too, right?
Yeah, I mean, most definitely. But I'm willing to do whatever it takes to help the team win. So if that means switching off every other couple series to stay fresher or whatever they decide to do, that's cool. But whenever my number called, I'll be ready.
And Dan, the other thing I would say, about staying fresh in the fourth quarter, you don't have to do it all the time. It's a package, so you can. And again, to your point, if you bring it in certain situations, now a defensive coordinator, what do we do? There are a lot of things that you have to account for if both Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are on the field at the same time.
And I think there's another element to this too that kind of helps maybe make it more palatable is that you can kind of trust Dearness Johnson. Last year Dearness came in and had a great game against Dallas, but it took him, he didn't necessarily show you he could be a guy that could carry the ball, multiple series or whatever. But this year, look, every time he's been on the field, he's been productive. He had that great game against Denver. I thought he looked good against New England, but before they kind of stopped running the ball in that game. And he's certainly not Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt. But if you need to give those guys a rest, I think you can feel comfortable giving Dearness Johnson a series at some point in the game to keep those guys on the sideline. So I think his emergence almost makes it easier to say, all right, let's have these two guys on the field together, because we don't have to worry as much about one giving the other a breather. We've got three backs who we can trust to carry the football.
Yeah, and do it effectively as well.